Hi friends, it's Miss Martin. I hope everyone is staying happy, healthy, and safe at home. Today I'm going to be reading one of my favorite books, A Mother for Choco. As I'm reading, I'm going to stop along the way and ask you some questions. So with a grown-up at home, I want you to stop and answer the questions too. Let's get started. A Mother for Choco by Choco Kaza. Choco was a little bird who lived all alone. He wished he had a mother, but who could his mother be? One day, he set off to find her. First, Choco met Mrs. Giraffe. "Oh, Mrs. Giraffe," he cried, "you are yellow just like me. Are you my mother?" "I'm sorry," sighed Mrs. Giraffe, "but I don't have big wings like you." Next, Choco met Mrs. Penguin. "Oh, Mrs. Penguin," he cried, "you have wings just like me. Are you my mother?" "I'm sorry," sighed Mrs. Penguin, "but I don't have big, round cheeks like you do." Then, Choco met Mrs. Walrus. Now, what do we think Choco and Mrs. Walrus have in common that might make Choco think that that's his mother? "Oh, Mrs. Walrus," he cried, "you have big round cheeks just like me. Are you my mother?" "Now look," grumped Mrs. Walrus, "I don't have striped feet like you, so don't bother me." No matter where Choco searched, he couldn't find a mother who looked just like him. Now, how do we think that Choco is feeling right now? He can't find anyone that looks like his mother. How do you think he feels? When Choco saw Mrs. Bear picking apples, he knew she couldn't be his mother. Mrs. Bear didn't look like him at all. Choco was so sad he started to cry. "Mommy, Mommy, I need a mommy." Mrs. Bear came running to see what was the matter. As she listened to Choco's story, she sighed. "Oh dear, if you had a mommy, what would she do?" "Oh, I'm sure she would hold me," sobbed Choco. "Like this?" asked Mrs. Bear, and she held Choco very tight. "Yes, and I'm sure she would kiss me too," said Choco. "Like this?" asked Mrs. Bear, and she lifted Choco and gave him a big kiss. "Yes, and I'm sure she would sing and dance with me to cheer me up," said Choco. "Like this?" asked Mrs. Bear, and they sang and danced together. When they stopped to rest, Mrs. Bear turned to Choco and said, "Choco, maybe I could be your mother." "You?" cried Choco. Now, I want you to make a prediction or a guess of what you think is going to happen. Do you think Choco is going to let Mrs. Bear be his mother? But you aren't yellow, and you don't have wings or big round cheeks or striped feet like me. "My goodness," said Mrs. Bear, "that would make me look very funny." Choco thought it was funny too. "Well," said Mrs. Bear, "my other children are waiting for me at home. Why don't you join us for some apple pie, Choco?" Apple pie sounded wonderful to Choco, so off they went. When they arrived, Mrs. Bear's other children rushed out to greet her. "Choco," said Mrs. Bear, "meet Hippie, Allie, and Piggy. I am their mother too. Now look at Mrs. Bear's children. Hippie, Allie, and Piggy. Did they all look like Mrs. Bear, or did they look a little different? The sweet smell of apple pie and the sound of laughter soon filled Mrs. Bear's home. After their delicious treat, Mrs. Bear gave all of her children a big, warm bear hug. And Choco was very happy that his new mommy looked just the way she did. The end. Thank you, friends, for reading with me. If you would like, you may write one sentence about something you learned in A Mother for Choco and draw your best picture. Stay healthy and safe out there. I'll see you soon.